Star Citizen combat tutorial, or at least an attempted very basic combat tutorial. So before I get into that, you should be aware of the Moby Glass, which you access by pushing F1. And then down here is Vehicle Loadout Manager. So if you select your ship, once it loads, you should be able to click the one that you want to, well, load out. And if you notice it says read only, that's because I'm in this ship currently, my Cutlass. And if it says read only and you want that to go away, you need to go to a station and then store it there. And sometimes you need to be at the station that you stored it. That's kind of a little glitchy right now, but you'll figure it out, I'm sure. If we click on weaponry, we can see all the available weapons on this ship. And I don't really have a scroll bar for some reason. I should. I have more than just 2 light strikes. But if we click on this, we can actually change our weapons over here with the ones that we buy at shops. And you can Google where you can buy upgrades for your ship, for whatever type of ship it is. You can't see any of it on mine right now because it's in read only. But I guess if we went to the Mustang I have, then yeah, if I wanted to switch out one of these weapons, which is currently empty, I could add one of the weapons if I had one available. This game oddly has such a huge variety of ships and weapons, but not really a whole lot to do with them. So the second thing is going to be finding a reason to use your weapons, to use ship combat. So we're going to come over here to Contracts Manager, and you'll probably be interested in Bounty Hunter and Mercenary. Of course, you could just go shoot another player if that's your desire. F4 will get you into third person for your ship. So once we are kind of ready for some of the basics, if you have Arena Commander available to you, that's a pretty good training ground if you don't really want to do it in the main universe, where it's pretty annoying when you get blown up in your ship and you have to wait 13 or however many minutes to get your ship back from the reclaiming and, have to mess with all of that. You just respawn pretty near instantly in Arena Commander. But we're here in the public universe, and if we left and right click, whatever our weapons are, we're going to be shooting out. And if we middle click, once we have a target, we'll actually be able to use missiles. So this will depend on the ship, but mine on my screen says missiles, and I have 16 available for me right there. Again, that'll depend heavily on whatever ship you're flying. Below this option, at least on the Cutlass's HUD, and it'll likely be similar on other ships, but it'll say right here Tempest 2, those are my missiles. I have 8 Tempest 2s. And it'll let you know here if you're in range or not. And that's probably the most annoying thing about learning ship combat in this game for new players that I've seen, is that a lot of people don't feel like their weapons are doing anything, and it's probably because they're either too close or too far. So with missiles, these days you have to be pretty far back for your missile to lock on. And for regular shooting, it depends on the guns that you buy. The range may be really short or might be really long. It should tell you in the weapon description what the range is, so you can find that when you buy it or in your inventory. The other thing is you really want to have a decent shield generator that'll help your survivability out a lot. If you are using the default shield generator on a ship that you just bought, it might not be very good, so shell out some of those credits and get a better shield generator. If we push G, we'll notice right here, these settings change, and this little circle shows up. So this circle is kind of the auto-aim circle. CIG, the guys who make this game, are experimenting, it seems, with how to make aiming reasonable, because for a while you had to be pretty laser precision to aim correctly, but right now it's pretty automated, so even if you don't have a gimbaled weapon, it still feels pretty gimbaled. And that's really the 2 weapon types in this game, fixed and gimbaled, and if you try them out you'll learn the differences pretty quickly. Fixed generally are a little bit stronger than gimbaled, but gimbaled are just so much nicer because they are pretty much auto-aiming and you're going to hit more of your shots, at least in my experience. If you're really good and you can aim with fixed, then you probably like those better. There's also other weapon types like shotguns, scattershot. Again, try them out, see what you like more. For now, we're going to come on over here to these claim jumpers. And I have to make the last trek of this manually because I can't quantum travel here. So I'm going to speed up the video to when I get there and try to talk a little bit more about combat when we're actually doing it. So I really cannot stress that this is a very basic combat tutorial video. There are tons of ships and tons of loadouts and tons of combat scenarios that I am not going to cover all of them. And this game gets updated not frequently enough, but frequently enough that the what I show you in this video will probably be outdated in just a few months. So keep that in mind too, but for the most part what I'm showing seems to have been relevant for the whole time I've been playing this game, which is before the public universe existed, if you could even call it a game right now. So there we go. Anyway, the other things you'll want to be aware of, which I guess I should show you how to get to, if you come on over here to options and go to key bindings, you can find here there's a lot of targeting options. So right there, 4, 5, 6, 7, and T, and I'm getting shot at. So T is the one I'm going to be using, and it's going to target the orbital sentry. Now if you notice this little part right here that is currently kind of following the sentry, that's where I want to shoot. So that's kind of where this auto circle is going to come into play, and once that fancy yellow or green, sorry I'm colorblind, circle shows up, that's when you can start shooting, because that's when you're in range. If you notice beneath my Tempest over here, it says in range with the meters I have before I get to my target. That means I can actually shoot missiles at this thing. So I blew that one up already because I have some decent weapons, and these ones have some really far range. So we're gonna run on over here to the other orbital sentry. And this mission has 9 stationary targets, so they're not much of a threat. In fact, nothing right now, no AI in this game is really much of a threat. Hopefully that changes in the future. But when I shoot these sentries, hopefully some other cutlasses, some AI are going to come and shoot me, and I'll be able to show off ship-to-ship combat a little bit. Again, the very basics combat. But if you kind of notice, with my aiming, as long as I keep it inside of that circle, then my ship will more or less auto-target onto it. If I start to move it outside of my circle, it's not going to be able to auto-target onto anything. But once it moves back into the circle, my aimer kind of goes back around it. I just need to close the distance between me and the target, and now I can start shooting. And I'm just going to hold down left and right click, and that's pretty much all you do for these sentries. I will hold control just to kind of move a little bit because the bullets hurt. And it looks like I'm getting shot at by someone finally, so we could look around. I hear him over to my left. I hear him somewhere. Where is he? Oh, I thought he was down there. Okay, there's one. There's a bunch of them. Okay, cool. So now here's some ships. T, again, is what I'm going to use to target them. And I'm going to try to keep the aimer in that circle and then just shoot when it is. And I don't really need to shoot when it's not, because it's going to overheat my weapons, and I want them for when I can hit them. And I'm just going to follow him, get my eyes blinded by the sunlight, shoot away, and eventually he'll get blown up. I am definitely not the best at ship combat. This is not a how to be the best pilot by any means. So, oh dear. Let me hide the chat there. Just kind of keep that in mind with this video. I really am just trying to show off the absolute basics for people who have no idea how to get started. That's mostly my point, or my goal for these Star Citizen tutorial videos. And I have a few other tutorial videos I'll have linked in the description, but this one is just for basic ship combat. So here's another guy, and I'm just going to kind of fly around. You do want to stay moving, just so they can't hit you. And if you have a decent shield generator, the chances of you dying to AI in this game are pretty low. If you have the shield generator that your ship came with, it's possible they'll kill you. I think they're going to be updating the AI in this game as time goes on, but we'll see. This game has been a whole lot of promises and not a whole lot more. Okay, weapons also make quite a difference. So right now my missiles say above max range, and the number to the right of that number rapidly going down, if you see over here, that number, that is the number of my distance, which you can see down there too. That's the number of the range I need to be in, so I need to be at least 3,000 meters away from it before my missiles will work. So we're gonna missile this sentry instead of shooting it, just so I can show you how missiles work. So, wow, that guy whacked me. You can see down here, that's my shields. Those are my front shields he lowered, but then now my back shield's getting hammered. I might be better off turning around and trying to shoot these guys, but I want to get to the sentry. So once we're within range, I'm just going to push middle click. And once it says locked, I'm going to push middle click again. And a missile's going to launch. Oh, that was a mistake. I am in free look mode. That was why I wasn't turning. Oh dear. And the missiles, again, depending on the ones that you buy, are really strong or really weak. The ones I have are pretty weak, and it's just because I don't really see much of a reason to use them against the AI when my regular guns do just as good a job. So if we push G again, it'll switch our targeting mode, and you can mess around with that. You can see which one you like better if you want. I like the auto one because I'm being really lazy. So this is another ship. And with this claim jumpers one, since we have to destroy 9 of these sentries, every couple of ones that you shoot, they're going to send more AI at you. And I found it a little bit better to clear them out before you go after the sentries, because you can get sandwiched. Don't really want that. And that's pretty much it for basic combat. The same rules apply, in my experience, to players. The only difference between players is that they often have ships that are dedicated solely to combat, so they're gonna roast right through you. Be prepared for that if you're going after players. And the other thing is just lag. A lot of times you'll be tracking a player and then they lag all around, and you lose because lag or however many other glitches exist in this game. So my real recommendation would be don't get your hopes too high. It is more than possible to do player bounties and player hunting in this game. Some people are very successful at it, but that's something that I think most people need to figure out on their own. It's kind of hard to make a tutorial on PvP, especially when I don't do it very often. So that is 4 out of 9. And this tutorial is pretty much over. So I'm just gonna run the rest of the video out completing this mission because it's worth like 20,000 credits, so why not, right? But there's not really a whole lot else for me to go over that aren't those very basic things that I mentioned. One other thing that might be worth mentioning is that it's a little bit less common now, but sometimes ships that you're targeting love to sit still. So if you're going toward them head on, you might run into them and blow up. So the only thing I can really say, if you've played any space game, you've probably experienced this. It's better if you start trying to move around in circles, oh dear, around your enemy. These sentries do have some pretty hardcore guns on them though. Not as good as mine, of course. But even for that sentry, they don't move. So don't target it head on, because if you don't blow it up before you get there, you're gonna run into it, then you'll blow up, and that's just annoying. There we go. So your weapons can overheat if you pick the energy weapons. There are, I guess I should have mentioned that, there's 2 types of weapons. There are energy and ballistic. They may be called different things, but basically the energy ones have heat. They don't have ammo, so it's unlimited ammo. You also don't have to pay to restock that ammo. But the ballistic ones, they do have ammo, and they also overheat, but a lot slower than these weapons do. So it's kind of up to you to find out which ones you might like more. The ballistic ones feel more like guns, and these ones feel more like Star Wars, so it's kind of totally up to you. Your ship will really determine the type of weapon you get to use, because different size ships can use different size weapons. I believe the Cutlass can use up to size 3, but I think those can only be fixed, not gimbaled, and I really want to use gimbaled weapons because I'm lazy. But as I said, with this auto-targeting update they made somewhat recently, gimbaled doesn't really matter as much as it used to. So we're going to try to take out these guys. You can also see my screen on the right there tells me what the state of the enemy ship is in. And I can't use my missile because, or my missiles because I'm way too close to these guys. Oh my goodness. Target him, please, thank you. So that looked like a lot of damage coming onto me, but these ships really don't do a whole lot. And I think I'm... Oh, yes, weapons. I think I'm using like a 60k credit shield, I'm not sure. It's not the top of the line one for sure, but it's better than whatever the Cutlass comes with. So we just gotta wait for that auto-targeting circle and just fire away. You are gonna have to follow the ship a little bit. There is some movement, but not a whole lot. I'll be real. It's this feels pretty automated. There we go. So we got 3 claim jumpers left, and I usually just kind of circle around like this looking for some. I have a hard time spotting these last ones. Down there. I just spin around, mash T, eventually it'll target one for me. Okay, these guys can shoot you pretty far out. Let's see. And the only reason I'm not using more missiles, it's just the ones I have are weak, and it's just easier for me to shoot them regularly. If I would bother to upgrade my missiles, I'm sure they would be amazing. But they also cost money, and I don't see a reason to waste them on AI.
Congratulations. Target is destroyed.
Okay, they are both around here. Is that one closer than that one? Yeah. That one is, okay.
Contact.
Oh, I don't know why. There's not like a darken option on my windscreen, dang it. Okay, the nice thing about these, I believe they're the Light Strike 2 weapons that I have for my Cutlass. They have much further range than some of the other ones do. That range really matters. Okay, so it looks like there's a lot more enemies coming in. I think I'm just gonna try to barrel past them and kill this, then I'll get my quest reward, and then I can fly away, quantum travel out of here, and be done with this video. Slow down a bit. Over to the right. There we go. That should be the last one. Is that a regular guy? Huh, maybe that wasn't the sentry. Okay then. Did I miscount sentries? Is that the sentry? Well, alright then. That's a little weird. Maybe I just hit a guy and was not paying attention. Whatever, here's the last sentry. Now let's slow down. No, not that one. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now you can fly away. And something that is especially true when you're fighting against players, unless their ship is like really decked out and they know what they're doing, you can get away from most attempted pirates just by picking a direction and going max speed. If you're in a faster ship especially, they're not going to be able to catch you. But that really depends on the encounter. So we're going to see if the star map wants to behave today. I don't think it does. No. The star map is one of the biggest hurdles to this game becoming actually semi-decent. So hopefully they fix that. Let's head on back to Microtech, and then we'll call it quits for this video. So that's it for this extremely basics, how to just, you know, get started video on combat in Star Citizen.